Hey, it's Jeff McNichol down here at Mom's Music, 1900 Melwood Avenue. I was just thinking, when I was a kid, the magic was at Frankfort Avenue, the Mom's Music at Frankfort Avenue, and I used to beg people to get a ride down there just to hang out with the guys and see all the cool gear. Now that I'm the owner of this store, it's like a dream come true. We're recreating the magic with the vibe that we used to have at the old store. We're carrying all the gear that you're going to possibly want. We're giving you the outstanding service and personal attention that you deserve. Yeah, so we've got the great guitar shop here. We're carrying USA Fender, USA Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel, anything you could possibly want. We're going to have it for you. Mom's is and always will be Louisville's music store.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I'm your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now let's get this show on the road. What's going on, Metalheads? Thank you for tuning in to the Metal Forge. I'm your host, Mark Jackson. It's Friday, January 8th, 2021. And you know, just when we thought 2020's crazy bullshit was over, guess what? Here we are, all crazy again. Raging fucking crazy. Who would have thought, right? If you're outside the United States, you know, flip it on CNN, get your popcorn ready, because you've got a ticket to the shit show right now. And you don't have to be there in person, so... But I'm not going to spend really any real time talking about that shit other than the fact of, hey, if you've seen John Schaefer from Iced Earth, you might want to call the FBI because they got a $1,000 reward for any info leading to his whereabouts. Because if you haven't seen, he partook in the insurrection coup, that bullshit that happened earlier in the week, and they want his ass. So anyway, what a dumb dick. On a more serious note, I want to take a moment of silence for Alexi Laiho of Children of Bodom. 41 is way too young to die. And, you know, I understand it was some health issues and so on and so forth over the last few years. But 41 is still way too fucking young to die. And I'm not that old yet. I'm not far from it. So it always makes me question my own mortality at some point. And, you know, it's definitely difficult out there. And if there's anybody that needs any help, needs anybody to talk to, you know, shoot the Metal Forge a message. I'll reply back to everything. May not be immediately, might take a few hours, might take a day or two. But I always reply back to everybody. You can hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, metalforgeradio@gmail.com. You know, if you need anybody to talk to, you can always hit me up. Because we're all in this together. And I think I've tried to stress that a lot over the last year. So here's a moment of silence to Alexi Laiho. Rest in peace, brother. We will meet again soon. Going into 2021 here, really fast, I am actually working with a record store where we're going to start curating here in Louisville an actual independent metal section. So many of these cool fucking bands we're going to be able to get into our own brick and mortar record store, I'm excited for. So if you're in the Louisville area, look up and go to Better Days Records. We're working on that. So cool. Shout out to all the other sponsors: Mom's Music, Maxwell's House of Music, The Wrestling Steve Show, Tattoo Charlie's, Kentucky Hot Brown Pedalboards. You guys are fucking awesome. Thank you to the Patreon subscribers. You guys fucking kick ass. And to all of you who listen week in, week out, who suggest new bands, thank you so much. So today I have Soul Grinder from Portland on the line. Holy crap. Got him on hold right now. We're going to play a song. We're going to get with them. I've been listening to this band for a while now, and I'm excited to actually feature them on the show. That whole Portland scene, you know, with Unto Others, Silver Talon, it's all fucking awesome shit. And, like, this Black Thrash stuff, you know, if you're into Wraith, you're going to love this band because they're fucking awesome. A super sweet 3-piece power trio from the Portland area. I mean, there's really not much else I can say, though, other than the fact that they're fucking great. So, why don't we just listen to some, and you'll be able to find out for sure. This is Kill, Maim, and Burn by Soul Grinder. All right, Metalheads, I am being joined on the line right now with Soul Grinder from the Portland area, and I have, I think, everybody here, April, Kevin, and Alex.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. How are you guys doing amidst the new year and everything?
Doing well, hanging in there, living.
Right.
Survived another one.
Yeah, hopefully this one's better than the last. As they say, it can only...
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. It can only go up from here, right?
I hope so.
And we'll see.
Right. 3-piece, I would kind of say like a Black and Thrash.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we kind of, it's funny, for like longest time,
we just kind of went, we're a heavy metal band, and we just like would write the songs and just kind of play. The sound just kind of defines itself from there.
Right on. Well, I mean, that's what Lemmy used to do with Motorhead. They were a rock and roll band forever, and then they were,
Exactly.
Everybody said they were metal. So I get that.
We didn't know our sound until people started like putting like definitions on it. We're like, oh, I guess so. Yeah, I guess that's what that is.
Right on.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to hear what people have said about our music and what they think it sounds like. One we've gotten a lot is doom thrash, which I think is pretty interesting.
Wow. That is interesting. I don't know if I would necessarily say doom thrash. I mean, honestly, what is doom thrash?
Yeah, I know it's a whole new
it's a whole new thing.
We're not trying to be genre definers or anything, but I think that's like that's an interesting title.
So you have a full-length album out, came out in 2019, called The Prophecy of Blight. What's going on after that? I mean, because that's been out for quite some time now. Are we doing more stuff? I mean, how is this panning out?
Yeah, so we have almost an entire new full-length album ready to go. I started writing riffs for it last October, and with the Prophecy of Blight, I think all three of us, we like put so much pressure on ourselves because we're like, this is going to be our first full-length, and it like at the same time we were playing a ton of shows, so we were able to test those songs out like as they were being written. So with this one, we have almost 10 songs ready to go for a new album. And, we're getting that ready for sometime maybe around the end of the year. We're not quite sure yet, but we're really liking the direction things have gone. And I know the reaction to The Prophecy of Light have like really helped give us like a boost that I think we needed to kind of propel all of our new material forward.
Definitely. Listening to it through the Bandcamp page and everything like that, it's really fucking good. And I mean,
thank you.
I think everybody needs to actually, when I do the show, I put out there that, hey, these bands are independent bands. Yeah, we might have some people on here who are already established, but, it's bands like you that make the scene still possible.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I think we're just like, because we're fully independent, I do like a lot of the engineering stuff. April does the art, and Kevin does a lot of the visuals and the writing of the lyrics. Having almost no net of like a label below us, for us, it was just like almost fly by the seat of our pants, because we really did not know how it was going to go. It was also fully self-funded and all that. So to see the reaction that we've gotten is been like incredible. And we're really appreciative of the response that we've gotten from everyone about it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And the artwork, really fast, is absolutely amazing. It's that neon color, complete 80s awesomeness. And I love it.
Oh, yeah. That's my jam.
Definitely. I absolutely love it. From the greens, on previous shows, I've talked to bands that have like a nice green, like skull look on their cover. I'm like, dude, that fucking is awesome. And I feel the same way about this too. And it's awesome. I don't even know that I can describe it without actually, just like say, hey, look at this.
Yeah. So, there's a lot going on. I do all our t-shirt designs too. So
awesome.
It's all just us doing everything. We did hire Joel Grind to master our album. That was for The Prophecy of Blight, who we were like, okay, let's put our money into actually like making this sound super polished and nice. And I think that was a really good choice to go with that, because we can only go so far with our own abilities.
And I've had this kind of conversation off the record with some other bands as well. I think that's one thing that you have to give it to somebody else to let them listen to it, to get your ears off of it for just a minute.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's so important. It's like so hard to even know if our music is good in the process. We're like, okay, it's done, but like, I don't even know what to do anymore. Like, of course we think of that. Like, we were like, okay, yeah, this is good, ready to go. But then, like you said, like having someone else's ears on it is invaluable. It's like having a consultant almost.
Definitely.
You just get another perspective.
And I think that's the whole thing too with like working with a producer is that thing is you have to have somebody around that you can bounce the idea off of. The new question I've kind of put into the set here is, who do you lean on outside of the band to get a neutral opinion?
We have, thankfully, living in Portland, we're pretty centrally located in Portland, which is nice. And since moving here, we've met so many people in so many different bands. And it's really nice to have all our friends be musicians. And it's really great to, like, we're friends with Idle Hands or Unto Others now, and
Right.
Bewitcher and Leather Bitch. Like, those are our homies. So we can really, like, and our friends we're all kind of, supportive of each other and want us all to do the best we can do. So there's always just everyone's always sharing, like, information with each other about, like, what they're doing. And, like, our friends are pretty open. Nobody's, like, I find, really super secretive of their knowledge. Like, it's nice to be friends with people who are being successful at what they're doing, and they're years ahead of us, and we can say, oh my God, like, we could actually get to that level. Like, it's possible. Like, okay, that's right.
In playing live shows too with these bands, I mean, Bewitcher was nice enough to take us out on tour a couple times, which was just, like, endlessly beneficial to us. And I mean, I remember I used to have this piece in my rig, which was like an Ibanez tube screamer. And Matt, who's their singer / guitar player, he was just like, just take that out of your rig, man. Like, I can hear you better when you don't have it. I'm like, all right, man, I trust your opinion. And so, like, especially when we get to, like, play live, they'll, like, tell us, they'll bounce ideas off of us, and we're very receptive to that.
Definitely, and I think that's the professionality between bands. A lot of misconception is in your own individual music scene. Everybody thinks that it's a competition, and everybody views it as a competition for the most part, and it's not a competition. Bands advance and everything at their own rate and implode at their own rate, if that's the case. Some people aren't just meant to go out on the road and tour, Some people can't be road dogs,
Yeah, and I think a big thing to kind of bounce off that is, I mean, for the three of us, like, we're around 30 or older than 30. Like, we know what it's like to not have a band, to not have a scene. We all moved here from Northern California, at different times, but, like, the scene in places like Sacramento is nothing compared to Portland. And the perspective that I've kind of gained is, like, if you're able to have a band, if you're able to do anything with that band, if you're able to even play a show, nowadays it's like, if you're able to make releases or anything like that, you are successful. And from there, it's just defining your own success further than that.
Right. It's different now than it was 50 years ago in the rock and metal scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody then was all touring and releasing constantly. And now, you might get a tour a year, if that.
Yeah.
But I've always said content is king, and the more content you can put out, the more good content you can put out, the farther I think you will go.
Yeah. And especially now, given the climate with COVID and everything, I think every band, bands that maybe had relied heavily on touring before have had to switch gears. Thankfully, Kevin and April are incredibly creative people who latched on the idea of making music videos and things like that. So for us, like, we were getting ready to do a lot of touring last year. And for us, I felt like it was just like a natural switching of the gears to be like, all right, new album and visual stuff and more content, getting ready to push out.
Definitely. And it's one of those things that, you talk about your scene. Absolutely. And I've seemed to have had a ridiculous... I've jumped from one side of the country to the other pretty frequently since, talking to a lot of bands this past year. And that's the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area has a great metal scene. And then the Portland area has a great metal scene. And it's like, I've constantly went back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, for us, it's like a blessing. Like, when we first started playing our first shows, back in like 2017, we were like playing gigs to crowds. We didn't have to do pay to play. We didn't have to sell tickets to our families or anything like that. And it was like, whoa. And there's other really good bands. Like, when we first played with Savage Master and Bewitcher, we were like, whoa, these bands are really good. And we know, like, Lady Beast out there in Pittsburgh, like, they're an awesome band. And I know they've got a really happening scene out there.
Oh, yeah.
And we look forward to, like, one day heading out there, and checking that scene out.
For sure. Deb was on the show last year, and completely awesome person.
Oh yeah,
they had just put out Vulture's Amulet, and when she was on, and yeah, very happening scene. And it's funny you say the Bewitcher and Savage Master show, because Adam's an awesome cat from Savage Master. Everybody in that band is awesome. Actually, I haven't met any of the people in Bewitcher, so
great dudes.
Yeah, they're the best. Oh my gosh, those guys are so much fun.
Hell yeah!
And just they've been really they've been huge in supporting us. Like, I've done 3 different pieces of art. I'm looking out on my wall right now for Bewitcher. And they just got signed to Century Media. So we're like super proud of what they've done. They were on tour. They were touring most of the year when we met them and started playing with them. Like, they were just constantly on the road, and they've worked so hard. So it's so great to see that.
Definitely.
They're doing it. They're doing it.
I think of things when people go out on tour, and there's a movie called Get Thrashed, if you've never seen it. It's a documentary that was produced by Rat Skates, and they talked to Gary Holt in there about why do you, I'm pretty sure it was Gary Holt, I haven't seen it for a while, but they're like, why do you have all the breaks in your work history? And it's like, well, because we get a job for 2 months and then go back out on tour for 3 or 4. And it's just like, oh yeah, I totally get it. So
yeah, that's a really, it's so wild to us. We've never had to do that. We almost did that. We almost went to like leaving the job, but all 3 of us have been in jobs up until last year, long term. So we were never really like in the food industry or the service industry. So we were kind of like heading out on tour was going to be like, oh shit, we got to like maybe put a pause on like working at our long-term jobs. And it was a little intimidating, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
But we were ready like to pull the trigger if we, were getting ready to pull the trigger on that kind of thing.
Understandable.
Also, touring is a lot of fun. Touring is a blast.
Right, it is, but I see what April's saying here. It's very, very daunting. It's a daunting decision to have to sit there and say, okay, I've been at this job for, 5, 6, 8 years, and be, okay, well, here goes nothing. and
yeah.
Yeah, and especially like last year with COVID and everything. I know bands that have been in the food service industry that absolutely killed. Where in Louisville they shut down everything except for like delivery services, and you couldn't go in anywhere. It really hurt some of my friends who are in bands.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've seen that up here too in Portland, and it's just like it's just so rough. And like I was talking to a friend of mine who's in a band down in LA, and like he said a story like similar to yours, where it's just like everything has been shut down. The food service is shut down. Like musicians were relying on particular types of jobs because of the types of jobs you can have as a musician. I mean, I've had plenty of job interviews in my time where they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" I'm like, "I'm a musician," and they're like, "Oh, this is a good conversation. We'll not call you back." I'm like, oh, okay, all right, well, but like, I mean, right now is really tough. And I think it was metal, especially for like the last 20, 30 years, it's been almost entirely like community supported.
Oh, very much.
Because that community is like so strong, like I do feel like metal, in metal shows and things like that, venues, bars that are passionate about the music, it's going to bounce back. We didn't have like giant record labels funding all the bands. And I think looking at how difficult the lifestyle can be, like I think there's definitely a level of toughness that everybody has to just persevere,
Right.
Because we're all just so passionate about it.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. And like you said, to hit on this again, was the no major record labels. I've always said the big 4 are a big 4 for a particular reason. And it's also because of that. They're the only 4 that really have major label support. I mean, yeah, Atlantic had like Testament for a while, but still, when it was in the metal game, they didn't put no money into it.
Right. And I think too, like we look at the albums that those big 4, came out with, everybody loves Metallica's first 4, maybe 5 albums, depending on your perspective. For me, right. Slayer's first 4 or 5 albums I absolutely love. But like, you look at what happened in the 90s, and it's like, there is definitely big label pressure being told, like, hey, you guys have to change your sound. You have to be more grunge. Or in the late 90s, hey, you guys got to be more nu metal. And like, I've heard Diabolus in Musica, that Slayer album. Yeah. It felt like that was the major label was really telling them that from up high.
Right. And that was always my argument with that as well, is you can look at pretty much any of those 4 bands, and people always shit on the Metallica side of it about, oh, the first 4 albums. Slayer, Megadeth, and Anthrax are pretty much the same thing. Because after those first 4 albums, you know, like Anthrax, Fistful of Metal, and, you know, that early stuff fucking is awesome. You get into like the John Bush era stuff, and it's all different. So I agree.
Oh yeah, I finally like listened to John Bush era Anthrax, and I was like, whoa, this is almost, I don't want to say alternative, but it was very, very different than what I was used to with Anthrax.
Yeah, very much. It is massively different. And, you know, the Megadeth thing is the same way when you get into the late 90s for Dave. I would almost be...
Yeah.
I'm almost going to say like Euthanasia on is with Megadeth.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, an interesting thing I noticed about Megadeth, like the way Dave Mustaine wrote songs on those early albums, including Rest in Peace, he writes riffs in such a weird way, and his song structures are so unorthodox.
Right.
Like I think Wake Up Dead, you know, it starts with the riff and then it goes into that breakdown riff, then like a verse and lead. But then once you hit Countdown, it was almost like a producer or something like that was like, hey, try more like traditional song structures.
Right.
And no matter how many lengths of time, like, you know, Megadeth, they've quote unquote kind of gone back to metal, starting with The System Has Failed. But he's always he's never like gone back to his old style of like composition. And, you know, I mean, I'm not a fan of Risk. I respect what he tried to do. And I've just kind of fallen out of interest with Megadeth. But like, you know, I still hold Dave Mustaine's a good songwriter, but there was definitely like, I feel those big label influence changes put there because they're like, you got to have a hit. You got to win a Grammy. You got to do this.
Right. Which is why you get the album like Super Collider.
Yeah. Yeah, that one.
I saw them on that tour with Maiden and was just like, what? Why are you playing this shit, dude?
Yeah, I mean, I remember like Risk almost ruined them. And then like I went back like a couple months ago, I don't know why, and I listened to The World Needs a Hero, and I was just like, man, this sounds like a broken band. I would have thought that they had learned their lesson, or Dave Mustaine had like learned his lesson and just stay on the metal track, Endgame, you know what, had some good songs on it. And I think it's just that temptation to reach that Metallica acceptance or like Metallica level of success.
Right.
There, or like to try and win a Grammy. And, that one throws me off.
Well, which that same time period, people were starting to come around again. And then that's when they did like the Big Four tour and are like, oh, they're friends. Yeah. They're friends again. So I think that's a big pressure point for that too.
They were probably, like offered a truck load of money for all of those shows.
Oh yeah, very much. I mean, they didn't do that many, but I guarantee, you know, because they played at Yankee Stadium and shit like that. So, but enough about all those bands and everything. Let's take a real quick break. We're going to come right back and let's hear some more about Soul Grinder. Since 1973, Tattoo Charlie's has been an established body modification studio in Kentucky, featuring world-renowned artists and piercers, currently with locations on Preston Highway and in Lexington, a staple point in the tattoo community. Learn more at TattooCharlies.com. Set up your appointment today at 7904 Preston Highway. Our tattoos are done while you wait.
Hey, it's Mark Maxwell at Maxwell's House of Music. Listen, all this stuff is now available to purchase on our website. Check it out at maxwellshouseofmusic.com.
We carry all the top brands, like Fender.
We got Gibson.
We also have basses.
We've got ukuleles.
We got drums.
We've got sound gear.
We've got keyboards.
With COVID happening and everything last year, kind of put the brakes on your all's touring schedule and stuff like that. And you got to write some new songs almost to a new album. Are you actually doing the recording yourself this time again, or are you going somewhere else?
So, every time we've done a recording, with Terraflesh, we learned some very valuable lessons. For the Prophecy of Light, we've learned some very valuable lessons. So the plan is we're doing drums in the studio. And then, because I think really we ran into, some issues here when it came to recording drums. I mean, Kevin soldiered through it and he did an amazing job. But we're like, you know, man, we're going to take this to a studio. If I have to engineer it, I will. And then April and I work so well together, jumping back and forth when it comes to doing bass and vocals. Like, I record those, and then my guitars, I record those myself. So it's going to be kind of a mixture of a studio and at home. And I think, you know, the amount of studio time, we know it's probably not going to be the super cheapest thing in the world, but I think we're ready and just willing to make that kind of investment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And everything has been so readily available for you to do that. Like, you know, like the Focusrite material that's came out in the last few years have made it super easy for musicians to record at home.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's like, funny enough, we recorded on this Focusrite Sapphire Pro 40, and that has been an amazing, you know, little interface. I upgraded my interface because, like, I'll record full-on demos in my room or wherever and, you know, use that as a template. And really, just the level of home recording has just shot up in the past few years. My first audio interface was like, I got in like 2006. It was like a M Audio Fast Track Pro.
Oh, yeah.
And it would just pick up round electrical noise. And it was just like, hissing and everything. I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. But it's, you know, all of that stuff that is readily available, it's at the point for, you know, independent musicians. Like, I was actually listening to your Hell Ripper episode the other day, which is really awesome. And I know he does everything on his own. And we're kind of like a hybrid of that. Like, it would be a hybrid of that for the next album. Because, like, right now, we're kind of doing that, except that we have 3 members as opposed to 1.
Right, definitely. That whole culture, I guess, of music where they're pretty much just one-man bands or one-person bands, I should say, that it blows me away because I can't play drums or program drums for shit. And I'm also one of the guys that sits there and it's like, I'll write a riff and I'll record the riff and then I'll like just let it sit there and won't do anything. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I'll try to record this and not practice it. So then it's like, you know, then it doesn't translate and I get pissed off at myself. But yeah, that whole deal, like the Hell Ripper episode, Oath, you know, even Trevor Church from Haunt, you know, these one-man shows that are just like, holy shit. I don't get how, like, I guess it's like, to me, it's just awe-inspiring, I guess.
Yeah, and it really, I think it's also, you know, this day and age in 2021, like, it's not like the 80s or 90s anymore where you have, like, a lot of, you might know, like, 10 drummers, maybe, or, you know, 20 guitar players, or 20 bass players. Like, not that many people actually play instruments these days, or a lot of folks just go like, oh, whatever, I'm just going to make electronic music, which is totally fine if that's what they're passionate about and what they want to do. But it's like, it's not uncommon, even here in Portland, you know, a drummer, and the drummer's in like 6 bands, you know?
Right.
It's like, it's a very real thing. It's like, that drummer is like, you know, really good, but also they have no personal life because they have to, you know, do so much of that.
Definitely.
And, you know, the tech now, it's really awesome. I mean, I remember hearing about, Edge of Sanity's Crimson 2, which is one of my favorite albums. Like, Dan Swano did most of that himself. And I was like, that's the coolest thing in the world. And that's like what inspired me to start like getting more into recording was that.
To me, it's one of those things where it's like, I would love to be able to do that. I'm just not personally wired that way. And
yeah, I get that.
yeah, and I would love to, like I said, I would love to be that way, but I'm not. And the thing with the drummer, yes, you're absolutely right. That drummer is in like 6 bands. Here in Louisville, it depends on what type of music you want to play. Like, if you're playing metal, then yeah, you're going to have a lot of interchangeable members. But if you're like in more of like a rock-oriented band, they seem to have their own lineup for each band, which is kind of cool too.
Yeah.
All right. I also like to ask some general questions on the show. You know, you said you listened to the Hell Ripper episode here a while back. I draw from a list. It could be anything.
Okay.
Simple, like what the hell questions, or really thought-provoking stuff. So the first question I'm going to draw here is, what's your favorite color?
I personally do not have a favorite color because I cannot choose one.
Spoken like a true artist.
My favorite color is red. Yeah, I'm going with Kevin on this. My favorite color is like red, like darkish red, blood red.
Both of Kevin and Alex's cars are red.
Yeah.
Nice. Blood red is always the direction to go. That and green.
Green is a contender for.
Definitely. Who do you wish you never saw live?
Oh man, I can kick this. I'm going to kick this one off first. All right, man. So, it's funny because we were talking about the Big Four shows. In 2010, I saw Slayer and Megadeth at the Cow Palace, and that Megadeth show is quote unquote legendary because they played My Last Word, just like off the cuff, and they were playing Rest in Peace. And they rushed through the whole album, which made me a mad boy. But the one that like really made me mad was Slayer. Now, this was like one of the last shows of the original lineup, and I was just like, man, other than Carrie and Dave, like they just don't seem to care, like at all. I really felt underwhelmed by the performance. And like, Slayer is one of my all-time favorite bands. They're probably now my favorite of the Big Four, but like, people will hear me bitch about that show like until the day I die.
I'll second that. I saw them the last tour that they had done, and it seemed like the same thing. They had Paul Bostaph on drums at that point, and Carrie seemed like, he was the only other person who wasn't phoning it in. I mean, Gary was just there. Gary Holt was, but Tom was just like, nah, here it is.
Yeah, I'm not down with that. I like at least a little bit of a fire in when I go to a show.
Right.
All right, I got mine. So I saw Dimmu Borgir in San Francisco, and I was really disappointed when I saw them because they had a whole bunch of like background audio tracks playing. Like, I mean, I understood because they had such a full album of like symphony and choir, but like seeing it live, it was like so underwhelming and just being like, oh, come on, really? Like, this is like, you could have just pushed play on the whole damn track at this point.
They probably did. No.
They weren't playing at all.
Yeah, mine is for the same reason actually, is Septic Flesh. I thought it was a great band, great performance, but yeah, like half of the music was on the backing track, which is, I wasn't super impressed.
What's your most embarrassing moment?
Ever?
Yeah, sure.
Here, I'll throw this one out as a little tidbit if anyone wants to check this out. So one of our one of the bigger shows we played was with Warbringer and Enforcer at the Hawthorne Theater here in Portland, and there was like this really awesome photographer who came out and took pictures of us. My zipper is down in every single one of those pictures. And my girlfriend, like, when I got off stage, she was like, did you know your zipper was down? And I was like, no. And so if you look at those pictures and you zoom in close enough, it's just like fat open hole, like right there. And it's like, and those are like nice pictures too.
You know, that's what people always do. They zoom right in on Alex's crotch.
Yeah.
So it's just can't avoid it.
Big ball energy, you know?
That
my most embarrassing moment was back in high school. It was a performance. I was doing this opera solo for this whole auditorium of people. It was also broadcast on the local channel. And halfway through it was an Italian aria. And halfway through, I just straight up forgot where I was in the song. I had to stop the pianist and be like, okay. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, can we just start from a point? And we might have just started over at that point, but it was just so mortifying. And then by the end of the performance, I run off the wrong side of the stage, and then I have to run back across the other side of the stage. And it was just oh my
no.
God.
That is ridiculous.
It was the worst.
No. That's almost like the fucking up the intro of a song and having to start over after you've reached the first verse.
Oh my God.
I don't know, most embarrassing. This is one that comes to mind actually. When we just did our live stream in March, we started the live stream, and I was using an electronic drum set, and it was not turned on. And so I had to turn it on, and then we fixed it with the magic of editing. But of course, for people who saw it live, that was about a verse and a half with no drums.
Oh wow!
Technical difficulties.
No,
yeah, these things go.
What are you currently reading?
I'm a big Warhammer nerd. Of course, our band is called Soul Grinder, and we have some Warhammer lyrics, inspired lyrics, I should say. And I'm reading this book called Hell's Reach, which is about a doomed, planet that's about to get invaded by a bunch of orcs, and we see, what happens there.
Nice.
I haven't been reading much. I got to start The Old Man and the Sea. That's next on my list.
Definitely.
Yeah, I've actually just got an order of books. I'm going to be starting on Stranger in a Strange Land by Heinlein, which I have not read, so looking forward to that one.
Definitely. Hell yeah. So except for the Warhammer stuff, some older stuff in there as well. With
a little bit.
With the Heinlein and the Hemingway.
Oh, yeah. We're a band of culture, fun cultured individuals. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the thing is, I think a lot of, quote, normal people who don't get metal or listen to metal think that we're a bunch of savages and we're stupid or something. And that's nowhere near the case. We are cultured people.
Oh, yeah. It's better that they underestimate us so we can sneak up on them.
Exactly. What instrument do you want to learn how to play?
Okay, so I thought about this. So my dream, is to be able to play a saxophone and hang out in front of a Sears and just hit them sexy sax solos. But I think that's never going to happen because Sears are gone, and I just don't have the time to learn a saxophone. And I don't, I'm not going to find a place to live. I'm going to get kicked out of the band if I'm practicing sax. So, on a practical scale, it would probably have to be drums because I don't understand drums, and I'll just be like, "Hey, Kevin, just play a double bass for 5 minutes," like a realistic human being.
You almost had me there when you said in front of a Sears. I was like, you have Sears there still? Holy shit.
Yeah, our Sears at the Lloyd Center is gone. It's just a husk of a building.
Oh, yeah. They're still trying to rent our building out. That was a Sears.
And good luck.
I think for my instrument, I've always really been into the harp or the violin, just other stringed instruments. But I don't know if I will ever invest in lessons.
Understand.
But I think they're beautiful instruments, and the tones are so rich and deep. But we'll see. Maybe when I'm 50.
For sure.
Okay, yeah. So first, I'd just like to say, I could definitely see Alex adding some sax into Soul Grinder. Make it like an Eson album, kind of thing. It could be pretty heavy, but I don't know. If I were to learn another instrument, I'd probably go for a cello. Something moody like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, might as well go for it.
For sure, because again, it comes back to the culture aspect of it, where we were talking a second ago, is finding out what other instruments would be good in your current project, because you never know what's going to accent anything unless you can actually put it in there.
For sure.
Definitely.
Maybe we'll start a classical band next.
There you go.
Sure.
I always wanted to record a cover of Ace of Spades and put all of the high-end guitar parts in the verses as horn instruments.
Ooh.
But then again, it almost turns into a ska song, and I was like, I don't know if we should do it that way.
Dude, lead the fourth wave of ska. Just bring it back. Be the one to lead the charge.
Motorhead ska. Just record all of the high end and trumpets and saxes and trombones and go for it.
Yeah, that's the flavor of the future of the now. Is no more genres. We're into ska Motorhead crossover.
Hey, it could probably sell millions of copies.
Yeah.
And everybody heard it here first.
That's right.
What is the worst album by your favorite band?
Oh, man, I got this. So my favorite band is Iron Maiden, and I don't think this is going to be really a hot take, but people are going to go, huh? The Final Frontier. Their 2010 album. My nickname for it is "Get to the Goddamn Song Already," because I feel like every single song has a 5-minute intro. And, I know some people would be like, "Oh, Virtual 11 or X Factor," and it's like, I like the Blaze stuff. It's not my favorite, but I can rock with it. But other than Final Frontier, there's no other Iron Maiden album that I just outright hate. I either absolutely love it or I'm like, it's fine. But man, that album, fuck that album.
Unfortunately, I'm not too big on much of their Millennium era stuff. You got Brave New World, and then it's just kind of meh to me. After that,
I think Kevin Shirley just runs the board, but doesn't be like, "Hey guys, you can't just repeat the name of the song 8 times and call it a song. You need to actually kind of tone this down a bit." And Steve Harris just tells him to shut up, and he just goes, go back to his corner.
He's like, "I write the songs here," and
and kicks the soccer ball.
Yes,
mine is Heritage by Opeth.
Oh, fuck that album.
We're all like, we're all super Opeth fans. Like prior to Heritage, that section of Opeth, like we all like kind of when we first all met, we all like bonded over our love of Opeth. And when that album came out, it like I didn't even want to listen to it because I knew it was going to be so different. And apparently I've heard it a bunch of times, and every time I listen to it, it is 0% memorable. Like I still think like sometimes I'm like, I've never heard that album, but like I've heard it a lot, and it's just like it's so different from what the band sounds. Yeah, it's not what Opeth was. They definitely changed their direction fully with it. And it's just like, it's like a heartbreak, you know, It's like, oh, you betrayed us.
Right. It just for some reason doesn't do it for you anymore.
Yes, absolutely.
What about you, Kevin?
April took mine.
Oh.
But, yeah, I mean, double fuck Heritage.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely tried to listen to that album a lot, but, I don't think it's necessarily a bad album, just as what it is, but it's not, it's not what we had come to expect, and there's definitely something missing in the formula there. It just doesn't have like the strength of the previous releases. So yeah, definitely Heritage was disappointing. And I've definitely put it on many times for April, and then she just does not remember, which is not a good sign for an album. So
right. Because that was kind of, I don't want to say like mid-career for them because, they've been around forever. What about anything after that album? Are you fans of anything after it?
It's too much goddamn organ. I mean, they're like a completely different band at this point. Like,
right.
Almost everybody left except Ackerfeld and their bass player. But like, man, you can just tell Martin Lopez and Mendez just are not in that band anymore, and the feel is different. And it's, with their latest album, I was like, this is good, but it's not for me. Like, that's the point. I've like reached my peace with it, and it's just like, yeah, we got those first 8 albums. We love them, we know them, but yeah, that's my take on it.
I haven't given them a chance since.
Understandable. I mean, yeah, because you say that everybody pretty much left, and that's the truth, because they've pretty much only had like 20 members. So, yeah. Just one good thing about the Metal Archives is some stuff that is inaccurate. There is a lot that is still pretty close.
There is one thing I want to get on the record about our Metal Archives. It says that April and Kevin are from Auburn, Alabama. They are from Auburn, California.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm here to make these corrections and be on point.
Yeah, that is one thing, too, that I've noticed. Like, there's some weird stuff that go on with that, because there's a band from this area, in the Louisville, Kentucky area, and I was like, why don't they have a fucking page on here? And I go to type it in, and I go to and I've got an account to where I can upload bands to it. And as I'm putting in their name and I go to hit the save button, it says this band has been banned from this list.
Oh no!
So I was like, yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? I wonder what they did.
Like the pile of graveyard or something?
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I want to know. I want to ask the guy. It's like, dude, why don't you have a Metal Archive page? How come they won't let you list your band on there?
What did you do?
Right. All right, hang out for a minute. We're going to be coming right back again with April, Kevin, and Alex from Soul Grinder.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called The Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is The Wrestling Steve Show, and I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge this week. I really appreciate every last one of you that listens. But before I go any further, I do want to tell you that we do have a Patreon page here. And there's 3 tiers. There's the Down and Dirty $1 tier. It's just $1. Hey, you're not going to miss $1. Nobody does. Then there's the $5 Showstoppers tier, which you get a patch, stickers, whatever we have that's in that price range. And then there's the $20 a month Master, where you can get a t-shirt, any size, any color of the Metal Forge logo. Fuck yeah, that's awesome stuff. Oh, and by the way, if you donate on there, guess what? You get the show 2 days in advance from everybody else. Thank you all so much. It's patreon.com/metalforgeradio. Check it out and donate today. I love you guys. Thank you. What's your favorite word?
Oh, you know what? I know this because my girlfriend she's going to put it in the vows. It's, after I slam the toilet seat down. Like, that is like, April and Kevin have heard me go, so many times in the past 4 years that I think they're just numb to it. And I know it's not really a word, but I got to go with that.
Definitely. It captures the moment.
Yeah, it truly does.
Oh my, this is quite the question. I've never thought about my favorite word.
I can go. I'll give you a moment. Yeah, definitely my most used word is shit. It's a word that, works in a lot of different situations. It usually describes how I'm feeling or, what's going on. So I'll take shit as my final answer.
Right on. Definitely. It is extremely versatile.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like tantalizing is a really juicy word.
Nice.
So I'll go with tantalizing.
Right on. It is. It's aesthetically pleasing, I guess, if a word can be aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, sexy.
Tingly on the tongue.
Yeah. It just rolls off. What food can you not stand?
Oh, dude, I can't eat fish, like, at all. I cannot eat fish. And my brother was a sushi chef for, like, a super nice restaurant. One time he made this really nice sushi dish for me, and I was like, sorry, man, I can't do it. I can't take the texture. I can't take the smell. And he, like, almost stabbed me right there. That's my go-to, man. It's fish. I can't do it.
So at least it's not from being allergic or anything.
Yeah, I just don't like that jiggly feeling in my mouth,
I don't like gizzards unless they're like hidden in stuffing. Like gizzards are like liver and heart.
Yeah.
I do not want to eat that raw, or I guess not raw, but eat cooked. I don't want it.
Don't want to eat it at all. I get it. Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really surprised Alex didn't go with Dijon mustard, but she's been at war with Dijon mustard.
Yeah, I've almost burned places down for putting Dijon mustard on my burger.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't go with that one.
I got a lot of hate.
Yeah. I'll eat most things, almost anything. I do not like black licorice.
Oh, yeah. But by that rationale, do you drink Jaeger?
I will drink Jaeger if it is ice cold.
Right, because it loses a little bit of the taste.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it goes down pretty smooth if it's icy enough. And I will eat things with like fennel, which is similar taste.
Right.
But yeah, black licorice by itself, nah, pass.
Yeah, I could completely relate to that. That's gross. What is something you've always wanted to do, but you're not coordinated enough to do?
Play drums, probably for me. Yeah, I'll just go with that. I can't. Yeah, I'm not coordinated enough for it.
Understandable.
Sport. I can't do sports. I tried a lot of sports, but I feel like I'm also really distracted when I play sports. Like sports aren't my bag. So,
right.
But I'm not like I did softball when I was a kid, but then I just got really bad at it. Like I couldn't catch the ball anymore, and like I was like, oh fuck, well fuck this. I guess I'm not a sports person anymore.
Definitely.
For me, definitely not coordinated enough to draw things.
Do you believe in paranormal?
No, I do not.
I like paranormal ideas, but I haven't felt like I've had any paranormal experiences, so I kind of like it as a fantasy. I don't know. I feel like I like when people like tell me their personal stories. I don't doubt them or think like, oh, you're full of shit. But I just kind of like hearing about the magic.
Right on.
Yeah, I believe in the possibility of the paranormal. I love hearing about like weird like ghost stories, like folk tales and stuff. And I like hearing lots of ghost stories to kind of hear like a pattern. I recently read the book Poltergeist by Colin Wilson, which is kind of just like it's a pretty dry study on poltergeist, which is kind of cool because he goes in and finds the facts objectively and kind of lays them out into a way where you can kind of infer patterns without actually saying like this happened or this ghost was real or not. But I really like the just the idea of it and kind of the mind game of thinking of what these things could be.
Yeah, it definitely opens up another, no pun intended, another world, I guess.
Yeah, it helps with lyric writing.
Definitely. All right, I got a few more questions here, just a couple more. But before I ask them, how do people get a hold of you guys? How can they purchase music? How can they find out more about Soul Grinder?
So we have our website, soulgrinderofficial.com, and that actually takes you to our new website. It redirects you to marrowgate.com, and Marrowgate is a website that Kevin and I recently started as a means to list our music plus our art, and we have some friends bands music for sale on there as well. So we're kind of just building this online web store, web presence through Marrowgate, and that is where you can buy our shirts and our posters. We don't list through Bandcamp, so all our physical merchandise is at marrowgate.com.
Right on.
If you want to email us, you can get a hold of us at soulgrinderofficial@gmail.com.
Right on. And as always, links will be in the description below, so click those, find out more about Soul Grinder, go buy some merch, go buy some CDs, enjoy it.
Yeah, and check out our music videos on YouTube. They're all up there.
What song or band do you never want to hear again?
I can answer that one. Sweet Child of Mine, because I listen to the radio driving around in my work truck during the day, and it is on like 19 times a day. And it's a great song, don't get me wrong, but it plays all day.
Even here.
Probably Gucci Gang by Lil Pump, just because it's annoying and I hate it.
Wasn't expecting that, but okay.
I had to go deep.
What you got, April?
Exactly, Heritage. If April knew, April knew songs on Heritage, she'd probably name one of them. No problem.
I don't know. Oh my Lord. Oh, I know. Fuck. What's that fucking singer? It's a pop artist. Call Me Maybe.
Oh, Kylie Rae Jepsen or Carly Rae Jepsen?
Carly Rae Jepsen. I don't ever need to hear that song. I could do without ever hearing that song again.
Right on. I can definitely relate. For sure. Not a big pop fan here personally.
Yeah, I don't think we're really pop people ourselves.
No. All right, so the last question, and I always reserve a deep question here for the last, and I'm going to go a little bit of a different way this time. What is the worst advice you've ever received?
Oh, man. You know what? The thing that comes to me immediately is my aunt had this boyfriend who told me that if I wanted to play music for the rest of my life, I need to start playing country music, and I should never play metal.
Ooh. Can I go ahead and say fuck that guy?
Yeah, no, fuck that guy, straight up.
I was about to say, yeah, I've been there, done that, received that advice myself, and fuck that. You know, people will play what they want to play.
Because, like, if you're not doing what you're passionate about, what's the point?
I agree. You know, I was watching a special a long time ago, and it was about Garth Brooks, and he was a failed rock musician as well, and because he just couldn't make it as a rock musician, so he started playing country, and when he went to Nashville, he was told, you know, if you want to make money in music, play country, and it's just like, you know, that's a cop out, and that's bullshit, you know, because we all have touring friends, and they, you know, I'm pretty sure that, you know, they live comfortably.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing is, too, is if you're like, okay, I'm going to take that advice and I'm going to, like, go in a country, like, just imagine how ridiculously competitive, like, Nashville is with country music stars.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's like metal where they can tell if you're not into it. Like, if you're not passionate about the style, they're probably like, oh, fuck this guy. Because, like, I mean, Garth Brooks, yeah, he has sold tons of albums,
right?
But also, Garth Brooks came up during a time where there was like way less competition,
right?
Yeah,
and there was a country resurgence for sure. Fuck that advice.
Yeah, seriously, so you guys.
I'm still thinking. I don't know. You know, I can't really think of just off the top of my head bad advice I've necessarily received. I try not to, you know, give unsolicited advice, and I'm not sure I've received a whole lot of unsolicited advice.
I feel like I would just like think of like an amalgamation of people, just like doubters, like like Alex's situation, like where people are like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it's like,
Right.
I need to not listen to you and your opinion because thank you, but goodbye.
Right.
I don't want to, like, what do you know? You're not living my experience. Like, you had your life. Like, let me do my, like, people who are just, like, straight up naysayers.
Definitely.
Like, you know, you don't need, nobody needs that.
Toxic people to the umpteenth power there.
Yeah, what do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was a time when somebody recommended something at Taco Bell that ended up being bad or something like that. But honestly, like everything I've had from Taco Bell has been pretty good. It's all the same three ingredients, you know.
Yeah, let me tell you, the cheese fried chalupa thing, not popping. It's not great.
Yeah, but you would tell me that. You wouldn't like lead me astray.
Yeah, I would be like, hey man, this is the best thing they've got, and then ruin your day. We know how important Taco Bell is in this household.
Yeah, you know, it got me through college. You know, it's gotten us through our first couple of years.
Heaven is never too far away when you've got Taco Bell down the street.
Very, very true. And yeah, it's either Taco Bell or you don't have them out there that I know of, White Castle. So yeah.
Yeah, the only time I've been to White Castle is when we did a stop in Las Vegas when we were on tour down the West Coast, and it was off the Vegas Strip, and like I tried it. It was pretty damn good.
Yeah, there's not that many west of the Mississippi River, so but they're more of a Midwest to Northeast restaurant. Yeah, there's none in the South really either. So for sure. April, Kevin, Alex, thank you all for coming on the show today. I appreciate it, and I am totally looking forward to some new material, even though you said it was probably going to be towards the end of the year, which, you know, is kind of sad, but I'm sure it's gonna be awesome. You're gonna release as things get recorded. I mean, that's what pretty much everybody does, right? They record and put out a single here and there.
Just to give you I've got a little surprise, which is there is a new song that we are working for a film that is currently in production, and we're going to do a track for that movie. So you will hear at least one new Soul Grinder song shortly. We're not exactly sure on the timeline.
And we're also going to be doing previews of our new material throughout the year, and recording at least play-alongs and things, and showing small sections. You know, because we have all the rights to the music, we can share it.
Definitely.
So, just keep posted on our social media. We'll have everything up there and on YouTube.
Definitely, and again, links will be listed below for all the social media links, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, any of that stuff will be listed below. So, off of The Prophecy of Blight, what do y'all want to play on the way out today?
Hunting the Prophecy. Yeah.
What was it?
Hunting the Prophecy.
Yeah, I'm good with that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Here it is. This is the second track off of The Prophecy of Blight. This is Hunting the Prophecy.
Musicians, rejoice. Confused with all the modern and technical pedalboard selections? Look no further. Kentucky Hot Brown Pedalboards offer their homemade wooden and custom pedalboards for guitarists and bassists alike. Established in 2013, KYHBPB has helped support not only the local Louisville scene, but a large array of big and small players from across the entire country. More info can be found at KentuckyPedalboards.com.